¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Except for one person, Kevin McCarthy. But we'll definitely be talking about what happened there. This is pretty breaking news. This just happened not too long ago. Right before I started streaming, like right as I was signing off work, and right as I was signing off work, I was getting all the articles ready, and breaking. Yeah. I think that this news isn't even like an hour old. So yeah. Nice meme. You work remote? Yes, I do. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Echo Rested Dragon. Heat, how's it going? Michael Hassler, Derry Bennett, Alio, welcome. Like a boss. Not quite, just lucky. I'm exhausted. It's been a long week already. I agree. And it's Tuesday. I agree, it's Tuesday. Trump civil case, the judge kicked that news outlet out. The judge is talking to Trump and lawyers. Is that currently happening? Kenny and Donnie are having really bad days. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if Kevin McCarthy manages to win back the speakership. We'll see what happens with that. But it just goes to show, like, there's a couple of things to take away from this. It goes to show, like, just how dysfunctional the Republican Party is, really. How are we going to make it through a whole week, ADT? I don't know. Here's what I do know, is that there's only a couple more days till the weekend, okay? I heard some Dems saying Jeffries, that would be funny if they try to nominate like a Dem. Like they were gonna try to nominate Jeffries. Yep. Okay. That's what they should do, honestly. That's what they should do. Like if Republicans are gonna be this level of like clowns, then or I should say, if Republicans are going to put on this level of a circus, then yeah, they absolutely should. AOC as speaker? I mean, preferably, but, you know. That would be even funnier, actually, if they nominate AOC. That would be even funnier. So why not? Oh, because I don't know if, like, even if they nominate whoever, even if the Dems nominate anybody, I'm pretty sure they're not going to win. I'm pretty sure they're not going to win, no matter who, right? Unless it's Gate. No, they're not going to nominate Gates or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Boebert. I don't think so. That would require Dems having spines too. Yep. True. Nancy Pelosi? Nah, I'm good. Hakeem Jeffries is already bad enough. Oh my god. Anyways, so yeah, the point being, and I'll make these comments, you know, again, once we get into the article. But this goes to show, like, just how, nah, I'm good. Hard pass on Nancy Pelosi. That's enough of her. It just goes to show just how much of a circus these Republicans are running. And this is what happens when they win power. They can't even govern properly. And I'll say this before, like, we get into the actual articles, but it just also goes to show that, like, a minority of the Republican Party is really running the show. And to underestimate, like, these far-right people is a mistake. And we'll get into that. She feeds off power. If we cut off her supply, she might fade away. Jesus. Maybe. Alright, so I suppose we should get started, right? We have a lot to go through.
Twitter's idiotic owner Elon Musk is being sued for defamation after his irresponsible tweets ruined a young man's life. The young man in question is 22-year-old Ben Brody, who became the target of right-wing conspiracy theorists after he was mistaken for a neo-Nazi that they thought was a Fed, and Elon Musk amplified those conspiracy theories about this young man. In July, Vice News reported it was halfway through the Dodgers game he was attending with his mother when Ben Brody realized some of the worst people on the internet believed he was a federal agent pretending to be a neo-Nazi 800 miles away. Earlier in the day...
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe.
Brody, a 22-year-old recent political science grad from UC Riverside, had noticed people commenting on his Instagram account and calling him a Fed, but he thought it was just trivial and would blow over. But while at the June 25th game, which saw the Houston Astros beat the Dodgers, his phone kept going off until he and his mother realized something horrible was underway. Before they left the game, their home address would be leaked online. By the time they got home, they decided they couldn't stay there that night. So the question is, what the hell was going on? They're at a game trying to enjoy themselves. When his phone is blowing up, you have people accusing him of being a Fed, and all of a sudden, he can't even return home because the harassment got that bad. What happened? Well, here's what happened. As HuffPost explains, On June 24th, members of the Portland Proud Boys went to Oregon City's first ever Pride Night Fest to disrupt the event and spew anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric.
Ah, surprise, surprise. The domestic terrorist group known as the Proud Boys was involved. And you have Elon Musk amplifying all this shit. Absolute freaking clown. These people are dangerous, 100%.
Along for the homophobic protest were members of the Rose City Nationalists, a neo-Nazi group that had recently been involved in an online dispute with members of the local Proud Boys chapter, Vice News reported at the time. The protest quickly devolved into violence, with members of the Proud Boys striking RCN members with American flagpoles and telling them to be gone, bitch. One still unidentified member of RCN is seen on video being propped up by his fellow neo-Nazis after he had been bowled over by the Proud Boys. Moments later, his mask is ripped off, revealing his face. The black-haired man bleeding from his head looks bewildered in the video as he goes to cover his face with his hands. Now, I can't play the video for you since it depicts violence and that'd be against YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah, fash on fash violence, okay? That's what happened.
But this moment on screen right now, where this Nazi was unmasked, is crucial because people on Twitter quickly tried to identify this guy who, again, they believed was a federal agent who infiltrated the Nazi group to cause chaos and make all of them look bad, as if they weren't already making themselves look bad by being Nazis. But regardless, rather than identifying that actual person,
these people don't care, okay? The logic doesn't have to logic. The math doesn't have to math, okay? The math doesn't have to math.
Online found Ben Brody's information instead and falsely claimed that it was him, a claim that was then amplified by Elon Musk. For example, this is a screenshot circulated online where Ben Brody says that he is a poli-sci major at UCR and plans to work for the government after he graduates. So I mean, I guess since he looks like the guy in question and expressed his interest in working for the government, they took this as confirmation that he was indeed a Fed. Now, the irony is that this photo of Brody is actually a picture from his Jewish fraternity. So you have a bunch of people online claiming that this Jewish man is a Nazi.
Oh.
So you like to work.
But Elon Musk responded to that post saying, always remove their masks. So they thought that they successfully identified this unmasked Nazi who happened to be a Fed in their opinion, but in actuality, they just dug up the social media profile of an innocent 22-year-old. Now, Ben Brody tried his best to tell them that this isn't actually him because he was getting harassment, and once that started to gain traction, thanks to Elon, he even gave them evidence. He shared debit card receipts showing that he was in California on the day that the fight occurred in Oregon, and on top of that, he posted a video of himself to Instagram explaining, hey guys, that's not me. I understand that there's a bit of a similarity in the way that we look, but I am a different person. That's not me. I'm getting harassment. Please stop.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Ben Brody, and I wanted to address the...
Yeah, he looks nothing... Well, I guess he kind of does. Okay, let's do that.
False accusations against me. I wanted to first off say that I am not a part of the Patriotic Front as a member, and that people who are claiming I am being confused with someone who looks similar to me. And I've never been to Oregon City for any protest whatsoever. Recently, I've just been so busy in terms of graduation from UC Riverside and stuff like that. I've been in Riverside only. This is just crazy to me. And I graduated on June 21st, and I've just been hanging out with my friends. And then all these accusations are kind of just crazy and incorrect. And my family and I are just being harassed completely, and I would be more than happy to clear up any confusion if necessary. This is just so ridiculous, and I really just can't believe this is happening to me right now, guys.
Now, that video was posted on the same day that Elon Musk amplified conspiracies about Brody being the Nazi. So how did Elon Musk respond once Brody came out and said, you've got the wrong guy, and provided evidence showing that he's not that person? Well, Elon Musk did the same thing. In response to a now-deleted tweet by Zero Hedge, Elon Musk referenced Brody again, saying, looks like one is a college student who wants to join the government, And another is maybe an Antifa member, but nonetheless a probable false flag situation. And then he added community notes, presumably for additional context about this individual who he thought was identified by the right online. But therein lies the problem. There was already no evidence that Brody was that individual in the video, even if they looked the same. But after Brody already came out and identified himself as Ben Brody and not that Nazi, well, Musk continued to tweet about him. And to make matters worse for Elon Musk, he wasn't ignorant, or at least there was an opportunity for him to inform himself because multiple users warned him that he's got the wrong guy, Ben Brody is not that Nazi, and his tweets about him are causing harassment. And you're seeing a couple of examples provided by HuffPost, but Elon Musk never corrected the record, and to make matters worse, those tweets are still up till this day. So Elon Musk ruined a kid's life with a couple of tweets, a couple of reckless tweets. And now what? Well, he's being sued for defamation, and Brody is seeking over $1 million in damages, and his attorney is Mark Bankston. Now, we'll get to Mark Bankston in a moment, but he made a lengthy Twitter thread about this, and he's going to take us through the timeline in painstaking detail to show us just how damaging this was and how reckless Elon Musk's behavior was. He writes, the lawsuit alleges that on June 27th, in yet another example of his growing tendency to spread false information, Musk falsely told the world there was evidence indicating Ben Brody participated in a violent street brawl on behalf of a neo-Nazi extremist group. On June 25th, a Dogecoin-themed Twitter user showed Musk a tweet from an anonymous right-wing extremist Groyper account making the accusation against Ben Brody, which included screenshots of the fraternity's social media posts.
Yeah, like Elon Musk just like constantly tweets, retweets, comments, a lot of these like far right Groyper type accounts. It's wild. Ali with the 12 biddies, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Stating Ben planned to work for the government. Musk responded by stating, very odd. While not yet defamation, this was already pretty bad. Musk was amplifying unvetted slander against an innocent young man being disseminated by an anonymous extremist troll and an anonymous cryptocurrency fan. As detailed in Ben's lawsuit, numerous Twitter users began immediately informing Musk that Ben was innocent. Yet, early the next morning on June 26th, Musk also responded to Twitter user Matt Wallace, a cryptocurrency YouTuber who frequently vies for Musk's attention after Wallace tweeted the same screenshots noting that Ben planned to work for the government. That same morning, Ben made an Instagram video trying to dispel the accusations. He also posted screenshots of debit card payments in Riverside. He even went as far as to request video footage from a restaurant he visited at the time of the brawl, which he also posted. Throughout the day, Twitter users continued to inform Musk that Ben Brody was innocent, and many of them provided a link to Ben's Instagram video, but it was to no avail. The following day, on June 27th, Musk threw the full weight of his celebrity behind the accusations and defamed Ben. He did it in a response to a tweet from anonymous blog Zero Hedge. In this case, Zero Hedge's tweet on June 27th stated, Patriot Front white supremacist unmasked as suspected Fed. Musk responded to the Zero Hedge tweet, and he declared to the world, looks like one is a college student who wants to join the government, and another is maybe an Antifa member, but nonetheless a probable false flag situation. Now, some of those details were redundant, but I think that the timeline is really important. It's important to know when Musk made these tweets.
I hope he loses that freaking case. I hope Elon Musk loses that case. Not that, like, losing $1 million is going to be a big deal to him, but it's about the principle.
And when the information was out there, that would have allowed him to educate himself and correct the record in an attempt to mitigate the damage. Now, the actual thread by Mark Bankston is much more detailed, so I'm going to link to that down below if anyone wants to read it. But this is very, very serious. And you might be thinking, still, it's Elon Musk. He's the richest man in the world. Therefore, he's going to have access to the best attorneys in the world, right? And that may be true, but allow me to let you know who Mark Bankston is. Mark Bankston is the attorney who represented Sandy Hook families in their defamation lawsuit against Alex Jones, and not only did he win, he gave us this viral moment where Alex Jones knew he was screwed.
So you did get my text messages, and it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, Did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
no, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
Just
And
answer the question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
And I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course. I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not why I happened.
My lawyer sent it to you, but I'm hiding it. Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones,
please just answer questions. There's no question. Mr. Bankston also only asks questions.
Sure. Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Now, if you couldn't make out what he was saying at the end there, he was asking Alex Jones if he knows what perjury is, since Alex Jones was caught dead to rights, yet still lying. That was absolutely incredible, one of my favorite clips of last year. And I just want you for a second to imagine Elon Musk in that same predicament getting grilled by Mark Bankston. It's a wonderful thought, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so, but I lie all the time, yeah? It's just the character that I play.
I, for one, am very excited about the prospect of watching that. Sometimes, powerful people do get held accountable, and it doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does happen. And when it happens, you really love to see it. Now, whether or not that's going to be the case here with Elon Musk and Ben Brody, we'll have to wait and see, because defamation lawsuits are notoriously difficult to prove in the court of law. Having said that, though, if anyone is going to be able to do it, if anyone is going to be able to hold Elon Musk accountable...
Got to know grow Musk for what? For being a defamatory piece of shit.
I'm going to place my bets on Mark Bankston. Not only is he a phenomenal attorney, but he is a very progressive guy who...
Crime? No crime. No crime, just defamation. Because he is a defamatory piece of shit. That's just like... That's pretty well documented in the earlier parts of the video. In the earlier parts of the video, he actually went timeline by timeline how he defamed a 22-year-old college student by insisting on saying that he was a Fed pretending to be a neo-Nazi to make the neo-Nazis look bad, ? Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, like, just to be clear, like, Elon Musk is a piece of shit. But now we're adding to that a defamatory accusation, and he's going to have to face that in court to the tune of $1 million. Perhaps, depending on what's the outcome of that case. But yeah, he definitely deserves it. 100%.
Who just genuinely seems to care about justice. And what happened to Brody is awful. It's a great injustice, and Elon Musk needs to right this wrong. Now, whether or not this goes to...
If only we could grow people because they're bad people to do bad things, but not breaking the law. You can't defame people. That's not how this works. You're not allowed to defame people and get away with it. That's how Alex Jones got grilled and destroyed in the Sandy Hook case. You can't just do that, okay? That's a civil case. Yes, it's a civil case, not criminal. I never at one point ever said that he's facing a criminal charge. At no point in any of this stream did I say Elon was facing a criminal charge. I said he's a defamatory piece of shit.
trial is a different story. Perhaps Elon Musk will be inclined to settle. I'm not really sure. We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm even more excited about the prospect of Elon Musk facing accountability, especially after his shenanigans that occurred this weekend. So for those unaware, he showed up to the border wearing a cowboy hat backwards like an idiot, and he treated migrants like they were zoo animals there for his amusement. As Alejandro Caraballo points out, I don't think there's a better picture that encapsulates the pure evil of our system, where the world's richest man can live out his midlife crisis playing a fake cowboy in front of desperate and impoverished immigrants while broadcasting it to the world to incite hatred. That's exactly what he's trying to do. In the same way that he incited hate against Ben Brody, he's now trying to do that against immigrants. He's not done terrorizing innocent people because he's taking pictures of them specifically to demonize them and perpetuate this myth that America is being invaded by migrants, when in actuality, these are human beings who are desperate and they're looking for a new life. They're looking for a new home after our country's policies destroyed their homes, destroyed their countries. And for this elitist asshole to show up and then take pictures of them and dehumanize them and treat their suffering as if it's some sort of a form of entertainment is genuinely sickening to me. This man has enough money to feed and house all of them for the rest of their lives, but what is he doing instead? He's taking pictures of them like they're fucking animals. It's despicable. So even though a successful defamation suit against him isn't even going to put a dent in his wealth, I mean, again, Brody is asking for over $1 million. That's nothing to Elon Musk. That's like 10 cents to you and I. Just the mere possibility of Mark Bankston humiliating him on the stand is exciting enough for me, right? So Mark, give him hell, because this
to me it's about the principle, right? To me, it's about the principle. How do you screw up cowboy cosplay? By being a completely out of touch, delusional billionaire. That's how. At least he didn't wear diamond encrusted boots. Nah, that would have been the icing on the cake, right?
Asshole absolutely deserves it. He deserves the treatment that Alex Jones got because he is a terrible person, and what he's doing is not okay, and he's going to continue to tweet recklessly and endanger other people's lives unless he learns that there's a cost for this type of misinformation that he's spreading.
True. Very true. All right, we need to shift gears for a second. Nursing strike or healthcare workers strike. The Kaiser Permanente strike across the country could impact appointments when it would begin. Tens of thousands of Kaiser Permanente employees across the country, including in California, plan to go on strike. The strike involves 75,000 employees, which could lead to non-urgent appointments and procedures being rescheduled. According to the release by the Coalition of Kaiser Permanente Unions, the strike is to protest unfair labor practices and unsafe staffing levels. The strike is expected to last for 3 days and is touted as the largest healthcare worker strike in history, U.S. history. Kaiser executives are refusing to listen to us and are bargaining in bad faith over the solutions we need to end the Kaiser short staffing crisis, said Jessica Cruz, a nurse at the Southern California Kaiser Center, in a release. I see my patients' frustrations when I have to rush them and hurry on to my next patient. That's not the care that I want to give. We're burning ourselves out trying to do the jobs of 2 or 3 people, and our patients suffer when they can't get the care that they need due to Kaiser's short staffing. A response from Kaiser described the strike as not inevitable and certainly not justified. The healthcare provider explained that there's a nationwide struggle for people across the country due to effects of the pandemic. Those struggles include people who put off care and fewer staff due to increased demand and more burnout. Healthcare is still under great stress. Despite the stress, Kaiser emphasized those 3 have little in common. What? They kind of do. Trump, Brand, and Musk. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Despite the stress, Kaiser, No, ideology too. Despite the stress, Kaiser emphasized that it handled the pandemic's impact better than other providers. The reason it gave more compensation, better benefits, and almost $1 billion in funding, housing, childcare, and sick benefits. Kaiser said if a strike happened, hospitals and emergency departments will remain open. The strike is expected to last from 6 a.m. on October 4th to 6 a.m. on October 7th, tomorrow. The release, yeah, and they're both very weird when it comes to harassment too, right? Trump lost that civil lawsuit against the Trump lost the civil lawsuit against Gene Carell. Didn't Elon Musk also get caught trying to offer a horse to to a woman? And Russell Brand, well, Russell Brand's allegations are pretty well known. His comments are also pretty disgusting. The same with Trump. Yeah, very different people and personalities. I mean, they're a little different in terms of like the flavoring, but they're all exactly that. They're all rich, entitled. They're all narcissistic. They're all part of like the swamp kind of oligarch kind of system. They're both all pretty right wing. Yeah, same boat. Just because they're wearing slightly different outfits doesn't make a difference to me. I feel bad for patients, but worse for employees. 100%. They all feel like they're above the rules. That's true. That's true. That's correct on all cases. That's true. Correct on all accounts there. And all of them are completely delusional. All three of them. All three live in like a delusional alternate reality. That's true. All three of those people live in an alternate, completely delusional reality that only exists in their head. That's another thing. That's all true. The release from Kaiser said its current offer includes a guaranteed across-the-board wage increase from... No, well, that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is staffing issues and burnout. If you don't address that, you can increase their pay, which, you know what, they deserve it. But that's not the core issue as to why they're threatening to strike. That's the narcissism? True. True, and they all feed, like, I guess it's all part of the same thing. But they all feed off, like, conspiracy theories. All three of them. All three of them have not only perpetuated conspiracy theories, but, like, believe them. Anyways, enough of that. They're all clowns, all three of them. They're all clowns, and just because they're wearing slightly different makeup doesn't make them not clowns. Anyways. The release from Kaiser said its current offer includes guaranteed across-the-board wage increases from 12.5% to 16% over 4 years, and 23 minimum wage for California with an increase each year for a 4-year contract is also part of the bargain. A letter sent to the Kaiser patients explaining that the 3-day strike is for some unions in California, Colorado, Oregon, Southwest, and Southwest Washington. The strike is expected to be for 1 day in Virginia and Washington, D.C. Kaiser, in its letter, said it would contact people if appointments need to be rescheduled, and wait and hold times could be longer. The coalition, I guess, coalition of Kaiser Permanente unions represent more than 85,000 healthcare workers in facilities across California, Colorado, Oregon, D.C., Hawaii, Maryland, Virginia, and Washington. So we'll keep an eye out on what's going to happen with that strike. My sibling is part of was part of the healthcare industry. They were a nurse. And this is 100% true. Like, the burnout is real, the understaffing is real. So they exited the workforce for a while until until they need it again. So I imagine that they might get back into nursing. But this is true. This is 100% true. The burnout and the understaffing is real. Here's some breadcrumbs. Yeah, like even if they paid them more, like that's fine. That's good. Healthcare workers, nurses and all these folks that like keep us going absolutely deserve to be paid more. But if it fundamentally doesn't address like the root of the issue, the core problem, then it means really nothing. Because they aren't striking for higher wages. Like the UAW is. Or like the railroad strikers were threatening to do it. They were striking over essentially working conditions, right? They don't have proper staffing, and that causes a lot of problems. Wants to be treated by a tired, disgruntled medical professional. Exactly. And like if you have like an incredibly tired nurse, who's like doing their like third 12-hour shift, like mistakes are gonna start happening. Mistakes are gonna be made, not intentionally. But yeah, there's a whole lot of problems that come with that, and on top of just having to deal with disgruntled medical professionals who are like tired and on their back-to-back 12-hour shifts, because they couldn't be bothered to hire the right amount of people to make sure that they have the coverage necessary. Which again, this is a problem when you have a for-profit system. You have to maximize profit. That is your sole job. If you are running a for-profit business, then your job is to maximize profit. And that has so many failure points when it comes to healthcare. We're seeing it live in 4K. We're seeing it. Sharpie Diesel subscribing with a tier 1 sub for 9 months and on a 6-month streak. Jesus. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Sharpie Diesel. Welcome. All right, let's shift gears a little really quickly here. Furious Trump tests campaign bluster at the courthouse. A livid President Trump, big mad, attended the first day of a civil fraud trial yesterday, where he used every free moment to chance to excoriate the judge who will determine the fate of his business empire. Trump's palpable anger on social media in the courthouse offered a sampling of how his combative rhetoric on campaign trail could play out and potentially backfire in his legal defense, because it turns out that this isn't a jury trial, because his defense made that mistake. And, well, let's just get through this. Politically, Trump's grievance campaign in the wake of his 4 indictments have been a success, catapulting to a 40-point lead over the rest of the GOP field. Legally, the wisdom of provoking judges and prosecutors with endless claims of witch hunts will now face a critical test, especially when Trump himself is vowing to take the stand. Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron, who ruled last week that Trump committed fraud by inflating his wealth and assets over financial records, would preside over a non-jury trial to determine the damages brought by the New York Attorney General. Depending on the outcome of this trial, Trump could lose control of some of his flagship New York properties, striking at the heart of the real estate empire that vaulted him into the national and political spotlight. Trump claimed outside the courtroom that he's the one who has been defrauded, accusing Engoron of drastically undervaluing his properties and failing to account for the prestige of the Trump brand. So basically, like, the reason why we're bringing this up is because apparently Trump decided to go after someone in the court. I forget. I think it was an aide. And now there's a gag order against him. Like, he's still posting about this. He's still posting about this. Also, he keeps like meshing the criminal trials with this civil case. This is a civil trial. And he keeps mishmashing them with the criminal stuff that he's facing down the line. So President Biden was correct. Will you shut up, man? I mean, yeah, he was. While this is a civil trial, Trump has made no distinction. Oh yeah, I should have just read this part. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Trump has made no distinction when comparing the case brought by James to the 91 criminal charges that he faces in New York, D.C., Florida, and Georgia. It all comes down from the DOJ. I did nothing wrong, and they indicted me. They totally coordinated this in Washington. Not true. What? This is a state thing, dude. The DOJ has nothing to do with this. Just to be clear. Trump basically declared accusing James and other prosecutors of coming after him for political purposes. That's why he decided to attend the trial in person. Trump replied, because I want to watch this witch hunt myself. Oh my god. Engron appears to have ignored Trump's incendiary rhetoric so far, but the former president may not be so lucky as federal trial in D.C., where prosecutors may have again called for a gag order in the light of his threatening statements on social media. Yeah, so we'll talk about this. Clowns be clowning, that's true. Trump wants 6 campaigns for president for 37 years. Not gonna happen. Anyway, so it looks like there was a... It looks like there was a gag order. Here, let me look it up. The reason why I even brought this article up is because that happened. Trump gag order, question mark? Okay, so this happened, this was an hour ago. Very recent. Sorry, I probably should have had this one up. Anyways, the reason why I brought that article up is to set the stage for this one. The judge overseeing Trump's civil trial issued a gag order on Tuesday today, barring Trump from making comments about court staff. Okay, so it was a court staff. Not court aide. Okay, my bad. After former president posted a social media attack on the judge's principal law clerk that included her photo. Yeah, see, if Elon Musk was on Truth Social, he'd probably be like posting that too. This morning, one of the defendants posted to a social media account a disparaging, untrue, and personally identifying post about a member of my staff, said Justice Arthur Engron, addressing Trump as he sat in the courtroom about 15 feet from the clerk. Personal attacks on members of my court is unacceptable, inappropriate, and I will not tolerate them in any circumstance. The judge had warned Trump on Monday, yesterday off the record, about making such comments, but Trump had ignored him. After Trump posted the material on Tuesday, Engron ordered him to delete the post, and it quickly disappeared from Trump's media site. Consider the statement a gag order forbidding all parties from posting, emailing, or publicly speaking about any of my staff, Engron said. Failure to abide by this order will result in a serious sanction. Earlier Tuesday, Trump posted about a message alleging Greenfield is running his case against me. The message was pulled from an account on X with fewer than 200 followers. Trump then linked to an Instagram account for Greenfield's campaign for a judgeship in Manhattan's civil court. How disgraceful. This case should be dismissed immediately, Trump added. He also posted a photo of her alongside Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and referred to as Schumer's girlfriend. Jesus Christ. What a scumbag. Freedom of speech. Several minutes later, Trump's campaign sent out a social media post and an email blast asking for donations, I bet. What a moron. Yeah, and the thing is, like, this guy should be honestly locked up. Like, just kind of setting aside, like, the thing we're talking about is the civil case in New York, right? Let's just table that for a second. The dude's been doing this. The dude's been intimidating witnesses and harassing witnesses throughout the whole, like, criminal stuff. I mean, like, the fact that he's even out and about goes to show just how much leeway is being shown to this guy. When in reality, if literally anybody else did this, they would be in jail. They would be in jail. No, they would be in jail, and no doubt about it. No ifs, and or buts about it, I should say. Trump posted a claim about Greenfield while the trial was still in morning session. Shortly after the court broke for lunch, the judge called the parties back without allowing reporters to re-enter. The court resumed the following lunch break and a 45-minute delay. Since the start of the trial on Monday morning, Greenfield has been sitting immediately to the right of Engron, which placed her directly facing Trump. She resumed that same seat on Tuesday afternoon as Engron read the gag order. Trump and his adult sons, and his businesses are being sued for up to $250 million in penalties stemming from what New York authorities describe as persistent business fraud. All his electronic devices need to go into a microwave. True. Trump needs attention and no social media. Well, he needs jail. He needs jail. That's really what he needs. But yeah. Greenfield has played a prominent role in the long-running proceeding related to the Trump Organization, particularly during a prelude to the current case last year when New York Attorney General Tish James, who filed the civil lawsuit, sought to force Trump and his children, Don Jr. and Ivanka, to testify over their objections. James also complained that Trump businesses were foot-dragging in response to subpoenas. A true patriot would dump Trump's iPad into the toilet. True. True. Now that's praxis. The clerk took to an active part in the proceedings, with Engron often turning her to question lawyers for each side. In addition, the judge rarely concluded a hearing without consulting with Greenfield about outstanding issues that he might wish to raise with the parties. Engron's decision lands at the precise moment a federal judge in Washington, D.C. is weighing a prosecutor's request for more severe gag orders on Trump, whom they've accused of repeatedly harassing and intimidating witnesses, tainting the D.C. jury pool, and fueling threats against prosecutors and in court. And the court in one of the 4 criminal cases he's facing, which is what we were talking about. The dude doesn't stop. The dude hasn't stopped. And anyone else would not even be the question of a gag order wouldn't even be happening. They would just be going straight to jail. Like, this wouldn't even be a conversation. If anybody else did this, if anybody else was actively attacking witnesses and trying to mess with the jury in a federal trial, there wouldn't be we wouldn't be having this conversation. They would just be going straight to jail. That's it. You're done. The U.S. District Court Judge Tanya Chutkan has scheduled October 16 hearing to consider this matter, which is 2 weeks from now. A little bit over 2 weeks from now, like almost 3 weeks from now, we'll say. Just a little under 3 weeks. Trump, despite being put on notice that prosecutors were seeking a gag order, posted a string of social media attacks on key witnesses in the Washington, D.C.-based federal case against him, brought by special counsel Jack Smith. His most pointed attack came against former chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley, who is expected to be a witness against him in both of his federal criminal cases. Jesus. Trump's verbal assaults on judges, prosecutors, and court personnel have already resulted in consequences in another one of his criminal cases, the New York State indictment brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. The judge overseeing that case, Justice Juan Merchan, issued a protective order preventing Trump from receiving the names or identifying the information of personnel in Bragg's office other than prosecutor and law enforcement members until the start of the jury selection. In requesting the protective order, prosecutors argued in a court filing that Trump has long-standing and perhaps singular history of attacking witnesses, investigators, prosecutors, trial jurors, grand jurors, judges, and others involved in legal proceedings against him, putting those individuals and their families at considerable safety risk. True. Again, anybody else, they would be in jail immediately. There'd be no questions asked. No questions asked. So we talked about a Supreme Court case that's happening right now. That's gonna come up soon about the Consumer Protection Bureau, and it looks like maybe the Supreme Court might surprise us by taking the Consumer Protection Bureau's side. But we'll see. Money and privilege only get you so far, though. True. Okay, so just piggybacking off the story we did yesterday. It looks like the Supreme Court might surprise us. Justice voiced doubts about challenge to Consumer Protection Agency funding. The CFPB appears likely to escape a potential devastating blow from the Supreme Court after several conservative justices expressed doubts about arguments that the agency's funding stream is unconstitutional. During oral arguments today, all the court's liberal justices and at least 3 members of the conservative majority sounded skeptical about claims by the financial services company that Congress's decision to insulate the CFPB from the annual budget process ran afoul of the Constitution's clause about the appropriations of federal money. Critics of the funding arrangement, which lawmakers adopted when they created this bureau more than a decade ago, said effectively takes future Congress out of the loop, but Justice Barrett Kavanaugh forcefully rejected that claim. Congress could change it tomorrow. There's nothing perpetual or permanent about this. The case is widely being watched because it threatens to curtail the power of the Bureau and upend some industries it regulates. Depending on the scope of the ruling, the case has the potential to disrupt financial markets and cast doubt on the functions of banking regulations beyond the CFPB, a scenario that the Biden administration and allies of the consumer agency have repeatedly raised. Maybe we might actually get a surprise ruling in this case. All right, so I think we should do a meme video, right? Meme video before we continue. I think so. Whoever did these videos, phenomenal, by the way. Phenomenal job. Steve Shives.
Good evening, non-union employees. I want to thank the management for the invitation. I want to thank the paid stooges brought in by my campaign to hold up signs and pretend to be union auto workers attending this speech at a non-union factory for some reason. That's fantastic. All you doofus conspiracy theorists who think every mass shooting or terrorist attack or war is a psyop. You're in a psyop right now! Congratulations! And thanks again. And most of all, I want to thank the news media for reporting on this event as though I was going to speak to striking union workers despite knowing the entire time that I wasn't going to do that. It's a good thing I don't believe in repaying my debts, because I owe you in the news media a big one. Without your gutless commitment to bipartisanship and performative fairness amplifying my dog whistle-laden rhetoric, normalizing my deranged beliefs, and legitimizing my fascist policy proposals, I wouldn't be here. I'm gonna keep on attacking you and acting like I hate you because these rubes lap it up like cheap beer, but just know that without you, people like me would have only a fraction of the political and cultural power we have. God bless you. I don't mean that literally. My professed belief in God is a cynical affectation, but you get what I'm saying. The Democrats, the liberals, the leftists, the Marxists,
and the Marxists.
I use those terms interchangeably, even though I know they aren't interchangeable because you shitheads don't know the difference anyway. The Bolsheviks over there on the other side, they all
The
say
radical left that is destroying America.
the Republican Party is the party of the rich, not of the working class. They all say that the Republican Party has nothing substantive to offer workers. Well, as your Republican candidate, I am here to tell you that they are absolutely right. The Republican Party has nothing to offer workers, has no interest in making life better for workers, has...
True. I mean, like, this is not I know this is like a parody, like a satire, but like, it's so true. It's so true. Okay, you've got like literally Republican, not only sitting members of Congress, but like people running for president for the Republican Party, literally saying like, yeah, I'm completely anti-worker. Yeah, I would fire the striking workers. Yeah, so this is 100% true. Yours is excellent too. I try.
No policies that could do anything good for workers. That's because the Republican Party is the party of business. And the bigger the business, the more we're the party of it. If you're a blue-collar worker, or hell, even a white-collar worker in most cases, I don't work for you. I work for your bosses. I work for your company's top executives and board members and investors and owners. I want to cut their taxes even more than they already have been. And let's be honest, taxes on the wealthy in this country are outrageously low as it is. Not outrageous to me. Should be outrageous to you if you could ever afford to stop working long enough to pay attention.
True.
I want to slash regulations.
Jesus.
We've been slashing them for 40 years, but I want to slash them even more. I want to do away with government red tape. By which I mean I want to make it legal and as easy as possible for your bosses to treat you however they want. No safety standards, no health care, no vacation days. Your bosses get everything and you get nothing because I don't give a shit about you or your families or whether or not any of you live or die. God bless America.
USA.
So what am I doing here talking to you in the first place? It's a publicity stunt. Thanks again for playing along. But it's more than just that. It's pretty simple. I need you to vote for me. We live in a democracy for the time being. We're working on that, but for right now, we still live in a democracy. So I need to win elections. I don't like it any more than you do. Actually, I like it way less than you do. I hate democracy. I fucking hate democracy. I hate having to come out here and put on a dog and pony show for you peons. I'd much rather just collect the unlimited wealth and unchallengeable power to which I genuinely feel I'm entitled. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in yet. And here I am. Why should working class people vote for me, a Republican politician? There's no good reason to. But some of you are going to anyway, because no matter how harmful our policies are to you, no matter how obviously out of touch I am with your needs, and no matter how unabashedly dismissive and hostile I am toward you, you sad, filthy, broke-ass unpeople, I can always convince a few of you to act against your own self-interest and vote for me. How do I do it? Well, you brain-dead simpletons, I'll tell you. I appeal to your vanity. I flatter you. I patronize you. I tell you that you are the real Americans. I tell you that your half-abandoned, economically inert, culturally dead small towns are the real America. I tell you that your frightened, insular, embattled worldview is the objectively correct one. I tell you that it was people like you who built this country. And I leave out the fact that the people who built the country have also historically been the people who have benefited the least from what they built, which is by design. You can thank me later. I was being rhetorical there. Do not thank me later or ever try to speak to me at all outside of prearranged and rigidly stage-managed campaign events. I see that chip on your shoulder, that antipathy toward being lumped into a group, that childish, independent streak. And I tell you what you want to hear. You don't want some union taking dues out of your wages and giving you nothing in return. Why should the leaders of the union get rich while you're here sweating away on the job? You don't want some union getting in between you and your employer, telling you what you can and can't do, telling your boss what he can and can't do. See, I want you to get mad at the idea of a hypothetical union leader getting rich off of your labor so that you won't care about your actual bosses getting rich off of your labor while leaving you with crumbs. And the best part is, some of you always fall for it because you're ignorant and you're desperate. And I know that's the case for most of you because you have to be ignorant or desperate or both to work in a non-union shop in the auto manufacturing industry.
Whew. This guy is just dropping bombs. Most politicians feel entitled to that. And in regard, true. Hey, Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle, accurate. Oh no, this dude is dropping bombs. This dude is dropping bombs. You want to make less money and work for more hours, right? True.
I appeal to your fears. I tell you that Republicans save American jobs and that Democrats destroy the economy, even though historically speaking, that is literally the opposite of the truth. I tell you that if these unions get any more of a foothold in your industry than they already have, they're going to make building cars in this country so expensive, companies like Ford and General Motors are going to have no choice but to outsource all of those jobs and all of their operations to other countries. And I'm telling you, that's the fault of the unions and not the top executives who pay themselves hundreds of millions of dollars annually. And you're going to believe me because you're seriously just that fucking dense.
True.
And because you like what else I have to say. For example, I appeal to your bigotry. Oh, you love this one, don't you?
Yep.
So do I.
True. Okay. Yep. That's really it. When you start boiling it down.
Yeah. When the unions force the companies to ship American jobs out of the country, who do you think those
it's the brown people. Brown people.
Jobs are going to? Your jobs. They're going to Mexicans. It's bad enough they're coming up here to take our jobs. Now we're going to send our jobs down there? Not on my watch, I say. When the truth is, almost all of the executives responsible for outsourcing American jobs to developing countries where it's easier to exploit cheap labor vote for me and give me money and keep me in power because we're on the same side. And if I was in their place, I'd be doing the same thing, looking for any way I could.
Which Trump did, by the way. Trump did. Hold on. Yeah. He absolutely did use undocumented folks.
Think of to fuck you over and take a little bit more of what I pay you and put it back in my pocket. Here's another one. Aren't you tired of calling customer service and having to talk to someone from Bangladesh? And they speak in an accent that you're not used to hearing, which can make them difficult to understand unless you actually listen to them? Don't you hate that? Of course you do, because people like me have been encouraging you to hate it for almost as long as most of you have been alive, which is why I can stand up here and say something like, don't vote for a Democrat unless you never want to hear an American voice on the phone again, and get away with it, because you're more worried about that than you are about how you're going to afford groceries in the next few years, as the actual value of your wages keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, you fucking nitwits. Hey, I get it. I hate people from other countries too. Immigrants, refugees, children of immigrants and refugees, black people, brown people, people of all colors other than mine. Even the ones that are just living in their own countries, minding their own business, doing what they can to earn a living for themselves and their families. I can't stand them. And if I didn't...
Only DJ Mio don't look for trouble, even though you've been banned in seven plus channels. That's a pretty, like, being banned from $27. I don't know. Real Radham is pretty chill too. All from one? I don't know what that means.
Need them as a source of cheap labor or to pass off as scapegoats to you dipshits. I wouldn't bat an eye over killing every last goddamn one of them. Heartless reactionary racism and xenophobia are qualities I actually share with all of you, but I try not to dwell on that. I find it upsetting.
I take a zero tolerance policy. Well, it depends. Twitch analytics matters. Honestly, the second Republican debate made me so mad at how dense conservatives are when talking about unions. Like, they won't pay their employees, but you think they will spend billions making a new factory in a different country? They won't pay the workers, but the problem is the government spending. Like, the UAW isn't being quiet about it. They're just being dense and want their confirmation bias. 100%. Like, this dude is like is just nailing it out of the park. This dude is nailing it out of the park. I 100% agree with you. I mean, especially if you've ever like argued, especially if you've ever argued with like a conservative, like Republican, like diehard Republican, like the type of person that's in the cult kind of deal. It's abundantly clear that this is all what it boils down to is like feelings. It's like feelings and outrage, manufactured outrage, and basically like being accepting of everybody's bigotry in your cult.
I appeal to your weakness for magical thinking. Most of you go to church, so I know you like to believe in fairy tales. Here's another fairy tale for you. Free market capitalism. The great American fairy tale we've been selling you over and over again for generations, as though any of you have the slightest reason to be excited about free market capitalism. It's not for the yous, it's for the me's. Cults benefit the people who run them, not the people who join them.
True.
We need to cut taxes and cut regulations to unleash the power and potential of American business. That's what I say in response to pretty much every problem. Climate change, cut taxes and regulations, unleash the power of American business. Poverty, Cut taxes and regulations. Unleash the power of American business. Criminal justice. Unleash the power of American business. What's cutting taxes and regulations on businesses going to do to address any of those problems? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. But it sounds good, doesn't it? Just like it sounds good when I say that I just want to turn loose the entrepreneurial spirit of the American people and encourage people to start a small business. Like any of you are ever going to start a small business. You probably don't even want to start a small business. But it sure sounds like I'm fighting for you when I say that, doesn't it?
I feel like I'm in church now. Amen.
I'm not, though. I'm not fighting for you. Why would I fight for you? I don't even think of you as real people. You're like animals in a zoo to me. If I'm feeling really thoughtful, which is not often, I might spend a few seconds.
Left Flank Vets, welcome, welcome, welcome. Rating with a party of 303. Welcome, everybody. Folks, if you have not seen me before, I'm A Difficult Truth. I do the news, I do the politics, Monday to Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys. If you guys enjoy your stay, like many of you have already done, hit the follow button. You get 6 free emotes. Enjoy the show, folks. If you haven't already, also please go support twitch.tv/leftflankvets and go follow them on Twitter. Thank you guys for the new follow. Thank you, Marcus from Left Flank Vets. I appreciate it. Thank you. Someone stole my username. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for all the new follows. Mythazan, RE918, Ashley's, Dalum, Ferrix, Pigman Bear. Thank you. Shanna. Thank you. ADT is base. Thank you. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Fellow worker, Inquisitor Gaia. Thank you. Like Trump knows what it's like to work in a factory. No, he does not. Welcome. All right, we'll continue this this video of if Republicans said the quiet part out loud, okay? Trump for speaker. If we get lucky enough, Trump will know what it's like to make number plates. Ooh.
Wondering what kinds of thoughts drift through your mostly blank lizard brains as you sit in your negative equity homes, smashing fistful after fistful of French fries into your faces while watching hours and hours of mindless reality TV. But that's it. I don't care about you. I don't take your feelings or your interests into account when I'm making decisions. I just want your compliance and your labor and your money. That's why I want to get rid of the minimum wage. That's why I want to lock as many of you into insurmountable debt as I possibly can. That's why I'm coming after your health care benefits. That's why I'm coming after your retirement. That's why I'm coming after your Social Security and Medicare. And you're so fucking dead from the neck up that you still think I'm on your side. Which is why I'm going to get all that stuff, because eventually you're just going to hand it over.
Bot shout out links your own channel instead of the one shouted out.
Thank you for your credulity.
Whoa. No way. Hold on. Left Flank Vets. This video is so good. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. This guy is on point. This guy is dropping bombs. This guy's been dropping bombs for the past 13 minutes. He's 100% on point. There we go. Okay, there we go. Twitch.tv/leftflankvets.
Thank you for your willful stupidity. And once again, thanks to all of you on cable news for airing this and talking about this and treating me like a normal candidate from a normal political party instead of an open fascist you should all be terrified of. God damn you. God damn America. Yeah! I will crush each and every one of you if it's the last thing I do, you pathetic sacks of shit!
Oh my god, this guy is so on point. Yeah, and they'll clap for it. That's the wild thing about this, is that, like, not only is he like 100% correct, but like this is exactly what happens in any of these Trump speeches, or even any just like Republican speech that you hear nowadays. It's pretty par for the course. Interesting times living. We never had interwebs back in the 80s, which was the last time the revolution was so close. This time they can't hide what's going on, as we don't have to rely on Murdoch to report it. True. Unsolicited overtime. Damn you, capitalism. Welcome, Conscious Canuck. Hope you're doing all right. This guy is phenomenal. I'm dehydrated? Sheesh. Alright, I'll watch one more. Because, time. But I'll watch one more. This one sounds like a good meme. He's really showcasing the performance that politicians put on. Yeah, 100%, but like specifically, just like with the, specifically with like the far right, he's completely on point. I keep having nightmares of Trump. I'm so tired of him wasting space in my dreams. I always wake up mad because I was cursing him out, flipping him off, and sometimes slapping him. Alright.
Nevertheless, the question still remains, is Hunter Biden the eastbound strangler? We reached out to the White House for comment, but have received no response. Coming up next, were Rudy Giuliani's past drag performances all part of an elaborate sting operation to expose child traffickers? We'll ask Rudy himself right after this brief timeout.
And we're in commercial.
What am I doing? What is this? What good does this do? This thing that I'm doing, this void that we just keep shoveling words and lies and hate and fear into it, and it gets bigger and bigger and darker and darker. And why am I feeding it? Why? Is this what I wanted my life to be? Is it? Oh, Jesus Christ, it's from CBS. Oh, please, God, please. Just wanted to follow up on our interview from last week and let you know that we have decided not to offer you the position. Fuck. Oh, my daughter. My sweet baby.
Same name on YouTube? Yeah, I'm a difficult truth on YouTube too. I keep having nightmares because I'm scared for my life due to right-wing, anti-queer, and anti-trans propaganda. Yeah, I completely understand that.
Sweet girl, she's going to
It's pretty dark.
grow up in a world that is cold and grim and bleak, and she will have to live with the fact that the man who read her bedtime stories and tucked her in and kissed her goodnight helped to make that world. And now, if I stop helping to make that world, she'll starve, because now that's the only job that will have me.
And one day someone will ask her what her father did for a living, and she will say he threw acid on democracy. Oh.
We're back in 5, 4, 3.
You are watching America's most watched, most trusted news source. Joining us now, as promised, from his Manhattan office, the former mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, so nice to have you with us once again. Before we get to the subject at hand, you did just recently surrender to the authorities in Fulton County, Georgia, following your indictment. Would you care to comment on that?
That's pretty funny. All right, this dude's awesome. I gotta spend more time watching that guy. Phenomenal YouTube channel. All right, folks. We're not in the business of ice cream. Big oil CEOs defend themselves against climate criticism. The chief executive of some of the world's largest energy companies. All right, so we got to stop calling and referring to them as energy companies, because that's not that's literally propaganda. They're fossil fuel companies. Yeah, oil conglomerates, energy vampires. No, yeah, they're not energy companies necessarily. Fossil fuels are the business of making the planet as a crematorium. Exactly. The largest fossil fuel companies on Monday sought to defend themselves from the criticism environmental exploiters. Yeah, among other things, but yes. Monday sought to defend themselves from criticism, saying it's not possible to keep everyone happy amid the planned energy transition. It's all together, but if you hit exclamation YT, you get the link. How about that? Check that out. Saying it's not possible to keep everyone happy amid planned energy transition. Speaking at the ADIPEC Oil and Gas Conference, which opened in Abu Dhabi on Monday, executive representing energy majors, fossil fuel majors in the US, Europe, and Asia sought to strike a positive tone on the state of play for the fossil fuel industry. It comes shortly after climate protesters took to the streets in hundreds of cities across the globe to demand that world leaders phase out the burning of fossil fuels, the chief driver of the climate crisis. Big Oil has been accused of dialing back its climate pledges in recent months, allowing for record annual profits that were described by human rights group Amnesty International as patently unjustifiable and an unmitigated disaster. What word wasn't allowed? Apparently, Automod was trying to censor the word fucker. So, yeah. We got to step up and prepare for the decarbonized systems of the future, said Tangu Muhammad. I'm not even going to pretend I can pronounce this. The president and CEO of Malaysia's state energy firm Petronas said during a CNBC moderated panel on Monday. So debate has always been posed here. I'm reminded of an old saying, if you want to keep everyone happy, sell ice cream. We're not in the business of selling ice cream, and I'm reminded there are people who are lactose intolerant. Well, okay, what does that mean? This isn't about keeping people happy, dude. This is about the habitability of the freaking planet, dude. This isn't like, oh, we're gonna ruffle some feathers, and it is what it is, and people are just gonna have to deal with it. Bro, are you serious right now? It's a smug, clever line that means he doesn't care. Correct. Anthony Bishop with a Prime Gaming sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Some of you need climate, some of us don't. Exactly. This is about keeping the planet alive. Exactly. But you can tell, like, the mindset here, right? Like, oh, you know, this is just business, man. You know, if you want to keep everyone happy, just sell ice cream. Bro, that's not something you'd say as we're literally having, like, unprecedented event after unprecedented event after unprecedented event. Yeah, it is smug and dismissive. What's that meme? The indication here is that we have to make some tough decisions and we have to be bounded by facts, rationality, practical steps, so we will get there. Okay, so if you actually want to be dictated by actual facts and rationality, what is explain to me the rationality behind continuing business as usual as the facts dictate that we are heading into a unsustainable scenario when it comes to the climate crisis. Explain that one to me. Explain the rationality of continuing the same business as usual when the facts dictate that we are heading into a completely unsustainable future. The planet will be fine, but our sustainability for the future is at risk for all humans. Right. Not just for humans either. But yes. Like, explain the rationality there. If you're truly bounded by the facts and rationality, your actions state otherwise. As been widely expected, a major UN report published last month confirmed that the world is currently not on track to meet the long-term goals of the 2015 Paris Agreement, which had no teeth to it. Essentially, it was based on pinky swears, not really enforceable in any way, shape, or form. And this idea that we're going to somehow, at this point in time, make that 1.5 benchmark is just out the window. Scientists aren't even really talking about 1.5 anymore. That ship has sailed. Explain how money made up concept by humans to prescribe value to object service and labor outbeats a living planet. Right, Mr. Exactly. Mr. We need to be dictated and bounded by facts and rationality. Yeah, explain that one to me. Thank you, Cheeseburger, Freedom Eagle. As been widely expected, the major UN report published last month confirmed that the world is currently not on track to meet the long-term goals of the 2015 Paris Agreement, a landmark accord that aims to pursue efforts to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Yeah, that ship has sailed, folks. And we keep blocking the road every day until they stop. Yeah, I mean, protests, any type of direct action that can be done needs to continue. The world has already warmed about 1.1 degrees Celsius over after a century of burning fossil fuels, as well as unequal and unsustainable energy and land use. Indeed, it is the temperature increase that is fueling a series of extreme weather events around the world. This is not just conjecture. This is not opinion. This is not feelings. These are based on studies, attribution studies that are getting more and more accurate and faster to exactly pinpoint these extreme events with the climate crisis. Not gonna let them do this to us and ruin our direct future. Good on them, yes. Vicky Holub, the CEO of U.S. oil and gas producer Occidental Petroleum, said that these are really exciting times. Really exciting times as, millions of people lose their homes, some wildfires, some floods, some people lose family, some people die. the potential for, diseases. Yeah, exciting times, folks. We have massive crop failures in multiple parts of the world, not just here, not just in the West Coast, but in multiple parts of the world. Just really exciting times for making profit, right? At the small expense of, hundreds of millions of people. Yeah, exciting times. For the oil and gas industry, and suggested a major challenge for the fossil fuel companies was working to regain the trust of society. There's no trust to be had. How can you gain the trust of society when it's been documented for decades and decades and decades that your industry is one of the main drivers of the climate crisis? When you've repeatedly lied for decades, you've engaged in greenwashing and PR campaigns to spread misinformation. You've engaged in this for decades. How is anybody supposed to trust you when it was your industry that knew about this for decades? In fact, your industry came out with studies that back in the 70s that were even accurate today. It was surprisingly accurate. How well they were able to predict what we're seeing today. Interesting that the top 5 exports from Saudi Arabia are related to oil. It's exciting to watch the poors die. Yeah, that's the translation there. It's like the Sackler family saying they aren't responsible for the opioid crisis. Yeah, exactly. Or the tobacco industry, right? Quote, I don't see where we are today as something that is going to end our industry, although there's some out there that want it to go away. Some? Yeah, I mean, it kind of has to happen, dude. Like, you did not, despite knowing what your industry was doing, you didn't bother to plan ahead and phase out and maybe even go into another, industry or whatever, make money however it is, whatever. Instead, you decided that the best course of action was going to be to continue to lobby and buy government and continue to run on subsidies and deregulation instead of, just doing the right thing. But, that's not profitable. And now we're here, and now we're in a scenario or a situation where, yeah, you know what? You have to go away. It isn't an option for people that, don't want to freaking lose their homes or life. Want some rationality? How about price controls on carbon fuels, retasking the weapons manufacturers to dedicate 40% of their manufacturing output devoted to renewable energy infrastructure, retask fossil fuel industry to produce geothermal industry and freshwater distribution infrastructures, and retask agriculture to sustainable farming and carbon capture. I mean, I think you're asking too much there, my friend. But how are we going to profit off of this? You forgot one question there, Conscious Canuck. How are we supposed to profit? Are my profit margins and my ability to, garner the same goodies that I've been buying and paying for, that I've bought and paid for? Am I going to be afforded the same thing? How are my exploitation levels, Conscious Canuck? Okay? Jesus. As we have done in the past, we'll find ways to innovate out of this situation that we're in. The only innovation is this industry disappearing. That's the innovation, okay? The innovation already happened. We already have solar. We already have solar and battery technologies that are constantly improving. We have ways of creating closed-loop systems so that the level of exploitation to make these battery systems are less and less and less. We have alternative ways of creating lithium. It exists. That's the innovation. The profit is the survival of the human race. Well, normal and rational people and logical people would be like, yeah, you know what? We probably should do that. I mean, like, if it means that the oil industry has got to go. This is like saying, like, oh, you know, we must keep the horse and buggy industry alive at all costs. We're currently innovating because now our horse and buggy doesn't require that many horses. Okay, now our buggy is now, like, I don't know, man. This is the same thing with like the candle makers, right? Like, oh, the candle makers are now going to go out of business with the light bulb. Okay, and? So what if the horse and buggy industry died? Richies will just colonize Mars. Yeah, it's true. Don't worry. Elon Musk is working on it, okay? Also, let's not skip how capitalism is setting us up to pit against each other later when most retirement 401k plans are heavily invested in fossil fuels because we will have to get rid of fossil fuels. But now an entire generation of financial prospects are effed. Yeah, I mean, like, they got us, you know, checkmated, right? Because, like, what are you going to do? As it is, having a retirement plan is lucky. How is the prick going to terraform Mars when we can't even stop these arseholes from Venus forming Earth? Don't worry. Elon Musk told us that he was going to get somebody on Mars. How long ago was that? We don't actually need lithium for all batteries anymore. China's ramping up sodium batteries, and there's always salt and water batteries for mass storage. There you go. Like I said, battery technology is constantly improving. So, like, this idea that we can't is silly. It's just silly. Quote, in mitigating climate change, there is also the opportunity to continue to produce oil for our energy security. Nah. You know what also is, like, making sure that we have energy security? Being completely independent. You want to talk about actual energy independence? Imagine having our own renewable systems, okay? Imagine having our own renewable systems that, you know, don't depend on the oil industry. How about that one? So we're trying to work with that strategy, and I think it's going to work well. Yes, hamstringing this perceived, hamstringing the country and holding it hostage by saying you need us for, you know, energy security. That guy calls it an opportunity and not a requirement or necessity, right? Which, it turns out it is. The biggest challenge is that it's harder to address than even the innovation around technology. It's just getting people to trust our industry again and to understand what the data really says. Oh no, I think we're pretty quite capable of understanding what the data is really saying. Okay, including your data. So with all disrespect, go F yourself for even thinking that we're too stupid. We're too stupid, and the reason we don't trust your industry is because we don't understand what the data really means or what the data is really saying. Don't worry, folks. The reason why we don't believe in fossil fuels is because we're just too stupid to understand what the data is really telling us, right? Even though we've had decades and decades and decades and decades of this, including your data, your industry's data, by the way, which shows where we were headed decades ago. But yeah, no, it's just the plebs are too stupid to understand. Okay, and that's why They don't trust our industry. The plebs getting people to imagine if like the tobacco. This is exactly reminiscent of the tobacco industry, right? The tobacco industry saying like, "Oh, people need to get trust our industry again and understand what the data really says about cancer and smoking," right? That's the problem. Yeah, exactly, Platinum. At this point, you might as well say that 9 out of 10 doctors say smoking is part of a healthy lifestyle. Exactly. Literally, it's the same parallel. It's the same story. Imagine gaslighting everybody to this degree, saying that we're just too stupid to not understand what the data is really saying. How condescending is that? Patrick Pouyan, CEO of French oil giant Total Energy, said that the oil and gas industry possess all the tools necessary to be a major participant in the energy transition. After 3 or 4 years, I understood that maybe I was naive. We will not please the activists. We will never make it enough to please the ones which are all against oil and gas, but my mission is not to please them. Of course, my mission is to make money. I mean, excuse me, sorry. Our mission is to deliver to society the energy that we can... Okay. But my mission is not to please them. My mission is to make as much money as humanly possible while, disregarding whatever, implications that might mean for everybody else. Good thing we watched the meme video first to prepare for the masks coming off. I mean, like, literally, it's a sketch, but it's reality. We're watching a sketch of that same kind of concept of how these people think about us. But in real life. Our mission is to deliver to society the energy we need today and tomorrow, and for that I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable on the ungodly amounts of money that I'm currently sitting on. In fact, it's a bed just made of money. That's how I feel comfortable. Knowing that I'm delivering the energy that we need at the small price of, the planet. I mean, maybe 100, millions of hundreds of millions of people may suffer. God knows how many may die. God knows how many may die and how many may lose everything. But you know what? I'm very comfortable on my pile of money. That I'm delivering the energy that we need. Jesus. That's so dystopic. Like the language and attitude that these people have. It's pretty dystopic, disturbing, disheartening. All of the above. I'm glad you understand my gibberish. Context clues. Speaking in January, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned fossil fuel giants for ignoring their own climate science, accusing the oil condemned the fossil fuel giants for ignoring their own climate science, accusing the oil and gas industry of seeking to expand production despite knowing full well that their business model is incompatible with human survival. Because their business model isn't taking that into account. That's not part of, like, this is the same thing with, like, the healthcare industry that's for profit, right? The idea that, like, we're patient's health or whatever, like, that's nothing. That's secondary. All of that is secondary. Human health, human survival is secondary to how much profit they are presenting to their shareholders. Okay? The only thing that matters is what the numbers look like every quarter that they meet. That's it. That's the only business model that they're in. That's the only thing that the business model they are operating under allows for. That's it. That's the only thing that business model allows for. Okay, it doesn't matter if, however many people die, how much profit, how much numbers, what do the numbers look like? Is line going up? Then good. Now, all right, cool. See you next quarter. I don't know how people can sleep at night knowing they could feed a whole state's worth of kids with a few snaps of a finger and fraction of the world. They sleep in their bed of money quite comfortably, apparently. Lack of self-awareness and ignorance is also a driving factor. I you know what? Like, I feel like that's getting harder and harder to believe at this point in time. Like, it's getting harder and harder to believe that, like, after decades of redoing this same old song and dance, considering like how much information is out there, considering how much like studies, there's literally an entire intercontinental panel that has experts around the globe from different countries, all getting together, all making this data. And like, I'm supposed to believe that even the industry itself that knew about this, and I'm supposed to like think that they just don't know. It's really like not. I lean towards that they just don't care. They literally just do not care. And they believe what they do believe. Maybe the ignorance or naivete. Not I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Whatever. Maybe the ignorance is that they know what's happening. They know how it's going to affect other people. They just don't care because they believe with the narcissism in their heads. Tell them that they're going to be fine. They're going to buy their way out of it. Whatever happens. So maybe that's I know they know, but they probably also think they work hard. True. Maybe it's just that they know what's happening. They know they're doing it on purpose. They just believe that their money and their wealth and their influence will buy them a ticket out of out of any consequences. Yeah. Forgot to switch to ADT to surround sound. Much better now. There you go. Like, mommy and daddy money had nothing to do with their success because they were born naturals. Exactly. Every one of them wants to be the last one to squeeze a few shekels from the dying ideology before the gates are closed, but thus it accelerates and we're all effed. Sounds correct to me. I feel extreme wealth looks at the world and society differently, unfortunately, but they cannot comprehend it. And they live in a bubble surrounded by yes men. Yeah, they believe that, well, I don't know if like they live in a complete bubble, but I think that they understand. They just feel like they won't be affected by it. Because they feel like their money and their power and influence will get them out of whatever consequences. That's probably what's happening here. And of course, since the only primary directive is to squeeze as much profit as possible, that's the only acceptable conclusion that they have. Like, all right, well, I mean, we're going to have like a ton of money and a ton of resources, so yeah, we'll just peace out of wherever the climate catastrophe hits in their heads. Scientists have repeatedly warned that the time is rapidly running out to stave off of what the worst of a climate crisis has in store. Reflecting on his position as CEO of British oil giant Shell since the start of the year, Wael Swan said, "It's been great, phenomenal profit and wealth and power I've built up." Excuse me. I think it's been a roller coaster. It's the worst of times, and it's the best of times. Oh man, cool. The worst of the worst of times, I think the recognition, it seems to be a time where we continue to polarize the debate more and more rather than actually converge given on where we are trying. What is this? What are you talking about? The debate is over. The debate is there's no debate here. This is like saying like, oh, you know, there's a time where we continue to polarize the debate about flat Earth. You know, we really need to come together and figure this out. No, man, no. There isn't. The debate has been had. We've played this song and dance already. We know what's happening. For decades, we've talked and debated and talked and debated. We know what's happening. The only people that are polarizing this are the people who are living in an alternate reality, and or with an agenda to push, and or the people that are directly financially benefiting from this. But yeah, this isn't a debate. Extreme weather doesn't live in a bubble. They spring for triple insulated dome on utopian reality with a VPN to all the resources to sustain that reality. We've known about this since the 50s, exactly. I think we all need to band together and get rid of the government on anarchism because that's a bit silly, but we need to band together and put all these silly people out of power, no matter the Democrats or Republicans. We got to get them out. Well, it depends. Because like electoral strategy is a completely different ball game. I have a couple of people in my family that say NASA is fake. I'm sorry for your loss. Anyways, the only people that are polarizing this is the people that have something to gain financially, like the CEOs, the people who are living in a completely alternate reality, and or both. I mean, that's it. There's no debate to be had. There's nothing polarizing about this. Progressives and conservatives are pretty much exactly the same. No. What? They're diametrically opposed. What are you talking about? This is like... Here's a question. Do you think that fascists and socialists are the same? That's a silly thought process. Because no, they're not the same. They're diametrically opposed. That's as far as I can tell what I'm getting from all this political stuff. You're completely wrong if you think that if I don't know what you've been listening to, unless wait a minute. Wait, do you think like Jimmy Dore is like a progressive or something? Do you think people like Jimmy Dore are progressive? Do you think people like Russell Brand are progressive? To me, progressives or conservatives at all just simply means to me that they want power just in different ways. No. That's not what those words mean. That's completely... Okay, hold on. May I submit that before you type something, maybe just like... Maybe like... I don't know. Take 5 seconds to like... Take a small dive into what these two ideologies mean and what these two ideologies like are standing for, because in no world would you think that a progressive and a conservative are the same thing or even remotely close. I think Utterly is trying to imply that neither conservatives or progressives are following their brand. No, it just says that they just want power, because I think maintaining the health of the planet should be a conservative value. But it's not, because conservatives are only... They don't care about that. The problem is conservatives and the right wing have fudged all of this to hell that it's even like difficult. Because like if you talk about like conservative values, what are conservative values? What are conservative values, right? When you start talking to conservatives about what they believe in, any principle that they claim to have, they will drop at any given point. I mean, like, here's an example. Not that it's like exclusive. Not that it's exclusive to conservatism, but conservatives claim that something like the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is holy, is sanctimonious to conservatives, right? That's a principle that they supposedly are very adamant about, right? The Second Amendment. Guns, right? Ask them if they want trans people to be able to arm themselves and see how many of them are principled. Oh, because that was a big discourse, wasn't it? Oh, we love freedom. Oh, for everybody? Well. Yeah, conservatives are not conservationists. Those are two different words. Let's get clear here. Liberals are conservative. The right in the U.S. occasionally holds some limited conservative views, but mostly are radical reactionaries. Yes. Yes, liberals are not progressives, although some have more socially progressive views. That may be the case. But yeah, liberals are not the left, because predominantly what separates, just as a general, because like getting into political like factions and trying to like parse this out gets really freaking hairy. But just as a so just to say it as distilled as possible, like generally speaking, people who are left wing or left leaning generally have a anti-capitalist sentiment at some like to some degree, right? Like they are challenging capitalism in some way, shape, or form. Generally speaking, people who are left leaning or just outright left wing are anti-capitalist or have anti-capitalist sentiment. People who uphold capitalism are generally right-wing. It just generally, because like to be left, definitionally or theoretically, I guess, because it's like political theory, whatever. You get my drift. Is opposition to capitalism. Or at the very least, anti-capitalist sentiment, because that's what left-wing like theories built on. It just as a general rule of thumb. The fact that younger humans come to Twitch to learn says a lot about public education system. Well. Get real here. Liberals are conservative. The right in the U.S. occasionally hold some limited conservative views, but mostly are radical reactionaries. Yeah. Sure. That's right. Pro-regulation, taxation of wealth, pro-labor unions. Yes, anything that is or can be seen as anti-capitalist sentiment. Pro-labor unions is a left-wing thing. The right wing bemoans the idea of labor. Ask them; they'll tell you. And I don't mean that with euphemisms. I mean they will literally say, people who are striking should be fired. Verbatim, I believe is what Tim Scott said. Yeah. Anyway, so it's just really weird to say like progressives and conservatives are the same. It's just weird. It's just weird, and I don't buy that. I don't subscribe to that. These kids need straight facts and educators makes me sad and drives me to be a better human, actually. One name, one devil. Reagan. Yeah. Right, that's like saying cheese and apples are the same because they're both food. I understand if there's some confusion because this is why like trying to use like political like labels and factions get really annoying. But yeah. I get what you're saying, OpenGL. Anyway, so yeah, there's no debate to be had here, okay? No debate here. We understand that the climate crisis is real. Fact number one, we're causing it. Fact number two, and fossil fuels, your industry is a significant driver of said climate change or climate crisis. So yeah, there's nothing to debate with regards to that. Rather than actually converge on what we're trying to solve, arguably the world's biggest problem right now. Well, the biggest problem, if you think that the climate crisis is the biggest problem, your industry is kind of at the forefront of it, right? But it's also the best of times, because I do think despite all the negative rhetoric coming from you, from your industry, if you look at what the world has done over the last 2 to 3 years and the significant uptick in both low carbon and conventional energy, it's been good. No thanks to the fossil fuel industry. We are nowhere close to where we need to be, but at the same time, we should not lose hope. Again, no thanks to your fossil fuel industry. That's the same industry you work with. You're the problem, dude. You're the problem. And to like gaslight everybody and pretend like, you know, your industry isn't like one of the main drivers and be like, oh, well, I still have hope that, you know, we're doing the right thing. No, man. No. No, you are not. Yeah, it's the PR department talking. Exactly. Exactly. Say the line. Say the line. Absolutely disgusting. If you guys want to read the full article, you can join the Discord where I post all the stuff that I'm doing. I'll also post like the actual link if you guys want to read the article. All right. So this just happened maybe a couple of hours ago. As the circus continues, the circus that the GOP is putting on continues, it seems like you know, yesterday we reported that like Matt Gaetz said that he doesn't think he had the votes to get rid of McCarthy. But apparently it happened. Personally, I didn't think it was going to happen. So I'll take that L. Yeah, just a couple of hours ago, the House ousted Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, a first in U.S. history. Man, the Republican Party's clown show just continues to give us firsts, right? First president that's been indicted. First president that's been indicted 4 times. And now the Republican Party earns the first speaker that gets a vote of no confidence. I went to the vet for 1 hour and the speaker was yeeted from the House, just finding out. Yep. It was a wild one, but I wonder if you or anyone else heard about the 2023 February proposal by Massachusetts to allow prisoners to donate their organs and bone marrow for 60 to 365 days of their sentence. I'm guessing it didn't pass, but I still think It's wild it was proposed and no streamer I checked in on seems to have heard of it. Actually, I talked about a bill. I don't know if it was that bill, but I talked about a dystopian bill that was being proposed. I think it was the same one. And it was I think it was even supported. Hold on. Let me look this. I'm pretty sure that I talked about it. I think the bill died. Okay. I know the people. Was it the Democrats? Okay, because I remember specifically being very angry, and very very angry about this. Yeah, I think you did. Okay, so yeah, it's the same bill that I talked about a while ago. So yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the same bill. Thankfully, it went nowhere. I know the woman Judith Garcia from Chelsea. It's proposed by Democrats. Yeah, the same Bible study. Exactly. It was proposed by Democrats. Yeah, it was two Democrats who proposed. Yeah, I did go over this. Yeah, I absolutely did. Sorry, I was just like going over like the story to make sure. Yeah, I did talk about it. Like, yes, if you want freedom, just, give your organs up. Remember the Facebook page? Yeah, I think so. I think you posted it too. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they tried to post a Bible scripture or something like that. Yeah. Anyways. The House of Representatives on Tuesday ousted Republican Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, the first time in history that the chamber has dethroned its leader in a no-confidence vote. McCarthy of California was voted out as Speaker when the small band of 8 hardline conservative Republicans joined Democrats to approve a motion to vacate introduced by Representative Matt Gaetz, a longtime foe of McCarthy's. McCarthy told colleagues Tuesday evening that he will not be running for Speaker again. Oh my God! Oh man! Not only did not only is he getting yeeted out of the speakership, but he's not running again. So they're gonna have to nominate somebody else. Jesus, I agree with Marcus. The Dems should have been the ones to call for the non-confidence vote months ago after McCarthy made the deal with the administration, and it became clear within days that Republicans had no interest in following the deal. That's true. They could have played hardball too. That's true. Moments after the vote ended, Representative Patrick Henry of North Carolina, a close McCarthy ally and Financial Service Committee chairman, assumed the role of Speaker pro tempore and gavelled the chamber into recess. McCarthy's ouster was effectively set in motion, quick in motion on Saturday when he pulled off a surprising legislative win, getting Dems to join Republicans in approving the short-term funding bill that avoided the government shutdown. McCarthy pleased the White House with that move. It fueled the already simmering resentments over his leadership among far-right members of the GOP caucus. Several McCarthy supporters have said they plan to offer his name for the next round of speaker votes. But other members of GOP leadership have also been floated as potential replacements, including Majority Whip Tom Emmer, Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Both of them are among popular among rank-and-file Republicans. The last time a motion to vacate occurred was in the House floors in 1910, when then-Republican Speaker Joseph Cannon survived it. Another Republican. McCarthy's hold on the speakership had been, different times though, had been tenuous since he was elected in January due to a small clique led by Gates who were unhappy with the Californian. One source told NBC on Tuesday that some McCarthy allies were begging a number of Democratic House members to vote with them to save his speakership. "We need Kevin McCarthy to remain as our speaker," said Emmer during the debate. "We're going to stay focused on our mission, delivering common sense wins for the American people," which you have done none, actually. Gates said that the only thing that the White House Democrats and many of us on the conservative side, far-right side of the Republican caucus have in common is McCarthy said something to all of us at one point he didn't really mean and never intended to live up to. Democrats could not do that. The rule is that a Republican would have to call for the no confidence vote. Oh, I thought it was any party. I thought it was any party. I guess I was wrong. There's nothing selfish about wanting a Speaker of the House who tells the truth. Gates said that McCarthy no longer represents the interests of the GOP caucus after the Speaker worked with Democrats to pass a stopgap funding bill to avoid a government shutdown over the weekend. House Democratic leadership Hakeem Jeffries, in a statement earlier Tuesday, said the party's member will vote yes on Gates' motion to oust him, a pledge they fulfilled. It is now the responsibility of GOP members to end the House Republican civil war. Gates had been threatening McCarthy with a motion to vacate since he worked with Democrats on a debt ceiling deal in the spring. McCarthy told CNBC's Squawk Box on Tuesday morning that Gates had personal things in his life that he has challenges with. In January, as a condition to secure enough votes to become Speaker, McCarthy agreed to change the rules to lower the threshold needed to bring a motion to oust Speaker from 5 votes to just 1. Yep. So, yeah. Okay, so a couple of things. Tabling, like, the hilarity and dysfunction of the Republican Party aside, tabling that aside for a second, this is kind of really bad, because it gives me like parallels. McCarthy didn't give lefties anything, to be quite frank. He gave liberals a couple goodies, but I don't know about lefties. But yeah, that's not. Anyways, that's not here. Okay, the point being is that so while the circus, is hilarious, and watching the Republicans being completely dysfunctional and incapable of governing, to the point of almost careening into a government shutdown, I think a more important, something to note, is, well, the far right did this with a handful of members in the House. And I can't help but think about like the same parallels during let's say like a period from like the 20s to the 30s in a little country called Germany, where you had the far right having such a small amount of a small amount of actually like elected officials, but somehow through processes and levers that they were able to hold, and because the far right orchestrated this by making McCarthy concede to the fact that they only needed one vote to even begin this process. So it's just kind of like, it's just to point out how scary it can be that a handful of people can, especially a couple of far-right people, can start, can hold the ropes. Can hold the ropes, despite only being like 5 or however many of these clowns there are of the MAGA Freedom Caucus, whatever. It's not a large amount of the Congress. People forget that a certain leader in that time you're talking about didn't win power the first time. Took a couple of tries to get in there and start getting support for power. This is a scarier time. Yeah, like the parallels are becoming more and more apparent. Right? And the fact that the far right was able to exercise this and execute this means that they've got a lot more power than we like to believe, especially for like the resist libs who think that like, oh, it's just a handful of the MAGA people. No. GOP political marketing needs the government to shut down for GOP campaign advocacy and the ads and so much more. Yeah, well, if the government shut down, they would get blamed for it. That's the problem. Arguably, that's just the excuse. They really got fired because Matt Gaetz is trying to ramp up his run for governor in Florida. I mean, like, I think it's an exercise in power. It's an exercise in power, and if they orchestrate the rules, and make it so that it's, one person can all of a sudden start making these type of motions. I mean, it gets dicey. The slimmer the majority, the harder it is to govern and easier to throw a wrench into. Yeah, granted, that's true. Speaker Mike Lindell may need a job soon. True. So that's pretty concerning. Pretty concerning. Given the state of things. My Pillow guy for speakership? Doubt it. Yeah, we'll keep monitoring the circus as it unfolds, and we'll see who ends up being the speakership and how many rounds of voting that's gonna take. But yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out on that. All right, folks, we made it. We made it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Left Flank Vets for that massive raid. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. For those of you that enjoyed the content, make sure you hit the follow button. We're here Monday through Thursday about 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for all the new follows. I appreciate it. How many long terms until Ron DeSantis can't be governor? One more, I think. I'm just wondering how the big clown show can get pushing Marjorie Taylor Greene for a speaker. Nah, right? They wouldn't do that, right? Right? Platinum, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Massive amount of follows. Thank you guys so much. Elect me, Mike Lindell, for Speaker of the House. Use coupon code SPEAKER. They wouldn't show hog, would they? True. Speaker Clinton was empty chair meme or two on the nose. Question is, Republicans who voted for McCarthy decide to break away and form a new political party or just switch to the Libertarian Party or reform? Nah, not a chance. Nope. That's not a thing that they're gonna do. Nah. Closest thing was like one person, like I think it was Eric Swalwell. The closest thing that they did was just like go independent. Sad thing is nothing preventing them from voting for McCarthy again. Yeah, that's true. However, I think McCarthy said that he's not gonna run, or he said that he's not gonna put his name up for speakership, indicating that it seems like he tapped out. We'll see. Even if they do nominate him, he seems to not want the job. January 6th did not end on that day. True. Thoughts on Gavin Newsom? I mean, maybe. It depends on who else is running. It depends on who else is running in 2028. Because if there's like a more like left candidate that decides to come out and run in 2028, I would vote for, like, I don't know, if Nina Turner decides to run for president on 2028, then I'm gonna vote for her over Gavin Newsom. It's just like depends on who is running. Okay, it just depends on who's running. You know, like electoral politics is just like, you know, it's just like strategy. You just pick like whoever is the best. You just pick whoever is the best. That's basically all you can do. I wouldn't want that job either. Newsom wouldn't bite the hand of his corporate overlords and run against Biden. Yeah, he wouldn't run now. He would run in 2028. In my opinion, he would run in 2028. But if there's any more like progressive candidates that are running in 2028, which would be the perfect time, then yeah, I would probably I'd probably vote for them instead. Turner in 2028. Yeah, if she runs in 2028, that would be phenomenal. I feel like 2028 will be a more open field. I'd vote for Bernie Sanders before voting for Newsom. I don't know. Sometimes it's like I feel like he's a Sour Patch Kid. He'll do things like sign bills that will help. He'll do things like sign bills that will like have public education on workers' rights, but then we'll sign bills like denying striking workers like access to unemployment. I don't know. Like it's like a Sour Patch Kid, but I guess that's what kind of like you get when it comes to like libs. So it is what it is. But yeah. It's unlikely the woman who correctly called the Democratic Party half-bull would get the presidential nomination. Oof. Yeah, that's a good point. I almost forgot about that. He is a big lib, yeah. Turner time. Maybe not as a Democrat. I mean, I still think that like she should if she doesn't want to run for the Democratic Party, understandable. But if she did, I would say that she should run to the left of whoever is going to try to run in the Democratic Party. The same reason as to why I would have preferred someone like West to run against Biden to the left of him. But, you know, a proper Labor Party. Yeah, one day. I know she's not as big on people's list as she was at first, but AOC is not the worst option. I would vote for her before I vote for Newsom. Yeah. I would vote for AOC over Newsom. If that's the if those are the you know options that we're given here. GOP with more power would be a terrible time. Yeah, and of course, the primary directive, in my opinion, when it comes to like electoral politics, is to get rid of the GOP. AOC is significantly a bigger political figure than Nina. Yes, that's true. And I would definitely vote for her over Gavin Newsom. I would vote for John Fetterman over Gavin Newsom. Bipedal. I would vote for John Fetterman over Gavin Newsom. It just depends on who's going to run. Newsom and AOC run. Oh man. How do we square that ticket? I feel honored to have the same name, Nina. I love Nina Turner. Nice. I haven't met many other Ninas. Me neither, actually. Now that I think about it. Katie Porter. I don't think Katie Porter is going to run. But if she did, I would vote for Katie Porter over Gavin Newsom. I mean, it just depends on who's going to run in the primary or who's going to run in the election, right? Just as like a general question. I would vote for Katie Porter over Gavin Newsom. Her too. 2028 is a long way. True. Katie Porter has VP? To who? I've been disappointed in some of the things AOC has done, but she's basically got slapped in the face by how the in-game works and has been navigating to set seats on committees from the go. Even though the establishment absolutely hated her, I gotta respect that. I mean, like, at the end of the day, they're Congress people. They're Congress people, you know? Jank, oh. Yeah, Jank. I was still in California, I would vote Katie Porter or Barbara Lee for Senate. Yep, I agree. That's a hard that's a hard choice right there. That's a difficult choice to make. The only thing I would say is, like, Barbara Lee still has the accolade still has like the slight edge that nobody has is her vote on is her vote on the war. That's something that, like, nobody has on her. But yeah, that would be a very hard choice. I would have to sit and think on that one. I would hate Raskin, not my first choice, but definitely not bad. Yeah. John Ossoff would also be amazing. Ossoff plus AOC would clap everyone. Maybe. But again, like the Simon Locker said, 2028 is quite a ways to go. I'm really informed, but I don't know how much the left feels about the war. I think most people just want it to end. I think most people just want that war to end. It's that simple. Heat MB player with 1 biddy each. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Heat with another 1 biddy as we're trying to coming in at the 11th hour with another 1 biddy. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Folks, as I was saying, thank you guys so much. You guys are what makes this channel grow. I appreciate it. Thank you to Left Flank Vets. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. Once again, I'll give another shout out. Thank you. Please, if you haven't already, please, why does it keep doing... Oh, I think it's because I messed up the command. Hold on. Let's try it again. There we go. Yeah, I just kept typing it wrong. All right. My bad. Anyways, twitch.tv/left flank vets. Go follow him on Twitter as well. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Again, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you stick with us in the raid, and make sure you join us here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be back tomorrow. Sharpie Diesel, thank you so much. Thank you. Heat, thank you. Michael Hassler. Also, if you guys want to help support the channel but cannot do so monetarily, head on over to the YouTube channel, hit the big red subscribe button. That's 246 of you have already done. It really does help us out. Spread the word far and wide. Thank you again to Left Flank Vets. I appreciate the massive raid. Thank you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I'll be on. I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Thanks for the stream. Give me a grace period. Thank you for the stream. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you for all the follows. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome. All right, hang tight, everybody. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.